Let's call her Megan 007. She's like the new 007. Apparently, she has successfully delivered a handwritten note to her father, Thomas Markle Sr., in his hospital room in Cebu, Philippines. So, how she did that without it being intercepted by Daily Mail and that woman, Caroline Graham, I don't know. I guess with all the sort of backlash that has been going on with what Daily Mail did with this Operation Amputation, I suspect that maybe Caroline Graham is too ashamed to be seen sitting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at Thomas Markle Sr.'s bedside with her notepad and her pen. So maybe she's been, she's probably still in the vicinity, but she's not sitting at the bedside 24/7, which allowed Megan's people to get in. I wonder who did that. Do you think it's one of the consular agents who said that he was a very big fan of Suits? Or do you think the consular agents went in, scoped the place, spoke maybe with one of the nurses privately, and then was able to slip that letter to Thomas when they knew that Madam Rattlesnake in the Blanket, Caroline Graham, was not there? So Caroline Rattlesnake in a Blanket Graham, that's her name from now on, right? Caroline Rattlesnake in a My mother said to me one time, because like I always have a name for like that. Let's say I have a boyfriend or something and things don't go right, or do I always wait until things don't go right, or do I think maybe before things are over but they're heading in the wrong direction, I always automatically come up with a name for them. And at some point my mother just became completely saturated with this, and she couldn't stop laughing about it. And she's like, you always come up with a name for them, that's for sure. Whatever she said, something to that effect. But she just thought it was so funny the way I would come up with names for these people. Like there was that one that there was one that I called hairless water bug number one. Hairless water bug. They just always had a name. So oh my God. And then I remember there was another one I called. I can't even tell you what I called him because that's just too much. But I didn't tell my mom about that. I told my friend Monica. Anyway, I digress. So, Megan 007 Sussex. For purposes of this video, she's Megan 007 Sussex. Okay. She slipped a letter to her father. I hate the idea that he's her father, but how dare me? Without him, she wouldn't be Megan. I mean, he could have had a child with somebody else, like a Samantha he had with somebody else. That's not a princess. That's not a duchess. And Doria could have had a child with somebody else, which may or may not have been a duchess or princess. I don't know, but it wouldn't have been Megan, you see. See, it's a very, very complicated thing. It's very, very complicated because you can't really ever completely take him out of the story because he did contribute what he contributed from day one. You know what I'm saying? And she became who she became because of the work she put into herself and so on, her personal development. But still, there's something there. There's a trace of him there and always will be until she dies. That's bottom line, right? And as much as the thought of it makes my skin crawl, it's not my place. It's not my business. I mean, I'm not, what do I have? Like, I'm like, Doya, what did you see on this guy? How could you have But I mean, look at what it produced, right? Look at what it produced. I mean, Meghan is, I mean, my goodness, how could it have produced Meghan? I don't know. But you see, this is the mysteries of life and of nature, honestly. Can an ugly tree bear a beautiful flower, right? I guess so. I guess so, because look at this, right? And as angry as I am, and I'm like, this man gets under my skin on a level on a really bad level. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad, right? But I still have to try to keep perspective because this is still this woman's father. This is still this woman's father, you see? So there's that. Anyway, so Megan 007 Sussex got the letter to him. So I can't wait to hear the snippets from the letter, because even though they can't publish the letter verbatim, they can publish snippets of the letter. They can publish a paraphrase of the letter. They can publish a sort of overall global summary of the letter. They just can't. The copyright laws, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a copyright attorney, okay? I'm not an attorney at all. I'm just like, somebody talking out of my what. But I believe, if I recall correctly, copyright protects only your actual words as they were printed, as they were said, as they were written, right? So there's that. Now, if you take the idea from what's written, it's better to give a citation, of where you got it. Because yes, you could be accused of, say, plagiarism, for example, as opposed to copyright infringement if you took the global idea and concept, but you didn't put down where you got it from, like if that makes sense, right? So they can still, Caroline can still get her grubby little rattlesnake paws on the letter, and they can take it apart and they can still publish the overall concept and ideas without actually publishing the verbatim letter. Correct me if I'm wrong if you're a copyright expert. Okay. Anyway, so what do I think about the fact that she sent him the letter? Again, as I said from jump, whatever Meghan chooses to do in this situation, I support, because this is her father, right? I wasn't there when she was living in his home. I wasn't there when she would go to his workplace at General Hospital and go in the kitchen and watch them cooking or whatever else she saw. Or, the other times when in private, when nobody was there, whoever knows what even happened during those times, because it is clear that they have a very toxic relationship. And that doesn't just happen in 2018 when he did all the shenanigans that he did. This was a long-running problem that these two people had. There's a problem. There's a fundamental problem at the root of this relationship. And I wasn't there, so I can't really say, so whatever she does, I support in this situation, because it's very complex, it's very messy, and frankly, very sad if you want to know the truth.